Hey John Tyler fans, I'm Trevor Peer with ET Final Score, and to my left is Travis Yosting, the beat writer for the John Tyler Lions. Travis, let's talk a little bit about John Tyler playing Plano this week. First off, last year they were 12-3 overall. They fell to Aledo in the semifinals. How crushing has it been for John Tyler to keep falling in the semifinals?
You know, I was talking to Coach Holmes earlier today, and he mentioned that losing in the first round and losing in the state championship game is the same thing to him. He wants to win it all. He's been to the state semifinals in 2 of his 3 years as head coach. He really wants to get all the way this year.
Now, talking with Chris, comparing the Red Raiders to John Tyler is totally different when you talk about players coming back. This John Tyler team has a lot of young players and a lot of seniors kind of stepping up now from the junior role last year. Tell us a bit about some of the young guys coming in.
When you look at the young guys, obviously junior quarterback Bryson Smith is a guy to watch, but he played receiver all year last year, so he's not exactly a new face. Offensively, you got to look at Trey Allison, a big running back for a sophomore. He's going to get a lot of carries this year. Played a little bit of varsity as a freshman, so when you're playing varsity on a 12-3 team as a freshman, you know you're pretty good. Defensively, they've got a lot of young guys in the linebacker core, the defensive backs, that they're going to kind of be thrown into the deep end this weekend and kind of see where they are against a pretty good Plano team.
Now, of course, this Plano team being a 6A school last year, they defeated them actually 30-12. John Tyler just stole the show on them. I mean, there are a couple key players that were on the team that are returning for Plano. But how good of a defeat was that getting this John Tyler team ready last year? You
know, it's great for their season to get started off on the right foot. You know, beating a big school that's, you know, literally twice their size always gives you confidence, especially a team with as much history. You know, Plano and JT are both in the top 10 all-time in wins. So, you know, you're playing against a team that you know is going to be good year in, year out. So I think the same thing this year. If they can get a win, they'll get a lot of boost of confidence.
Well, our Travis Yosting did catch up with Coach Holmes earlier this week. Let's check out what he had to say about the Plano's offense and defense.
I think they're still going to be stout. Their offense is going to be able to move the ball. I'm sure they're going to be able to find linemen out of the 5,000 kids that they got at their school. So finding players is not going to be a problem for Plano. They're just going to have to get those guys in sync like they did last year, and I'm sure, you know, they had a good offseason, they had a good spring, and I'm sure they're going to have those guys doing what they need to do. And after looking at them in their first scrimmage game, I'm sure that they're going to be just as good as they were last year. Well, right now they look a little bit more athletic in the secondary than they did last year, so that's something that we're going to have to make sure that we take care of on the offensive side of the ball. But as far as what they do, they're still fundamentally sound. They're not going to miss very many tackles. They're going to be where they need to be. But now, at this point, we just have to let our athletic ability take over and also match it with their discipline. I think, you know, you got to let them get bit early first so they can understand what Friday night football is all about. So by going against teams of that caliber, these first 3 games of the season, that does nothing but tell me that, hey, these are the games that we need to go through to get ready to go through our district, to get ready to go through our postseason play.
Now, that running back Coach Holmes is talking about, Brandon Stevens, the running back for Plano. You know, in 2014, he had 196 attempts, 1,268 yards, and 21 rushing touchdowns. That's quite a bit, and it's going to be a lot to handle for this young defensive squad for John Tyler.
Definitely, you know, and for JT, as always with their defense, it's going to start with their defensive line with Braylon Jones and Pierre Leonard up front. Those 2 guys are going to be called on to stop Brandon Stevens again. If they can corral him for most of the game like they did last year, where, you know, most of his yards came on 1 run, then JT's got a pretty good shot.
Now, of course, you're looking for John Tyler to make a long run. Earlier when you talked to Coach Holmes, he did say he wants his defense to get bit. Speaking about these younger players, what does it mean for them to come out there and get a taste of football since they're so young, so whenever they make it to district and they start pushing for the playoffs, that they have that kind of experience?
Really, it's a perfect way to start the season for those guys. You know, you're going on the road to Dallas, you know, just like you would be during the playoffs, or maybe, you know, a trip to, you know, Corsicana or Ennis in district. And for them, it's, you know, a way to get quickly acclimated, find out exactly what, you know, big-time high school football is all about in Texas.
Now, you follow this team more than anybody you have for the past years. Tell us some keys that you see from this younger squad that they're going to have to capitalize on to pull out a win against Plano.
I think definitely they're going to have to establish a pretty good running game. You know, Bryson Smith has proven that he's pretty accurate as a passer, and he's got a lot of weapons with Jatavian Gross and Damian Miller. But they're going to have to establish a little bit of a run game against that Plano defense. That's going to be plenty big.
So give us your kind of prediction and kind of the score that you think is going to be the outcome of this.
I think it could be another low-scoring affair like last year. You know, JT got a couple defensive touchdowns that really helped him out last year. If they can do the same, I think they could, you know, pull out a similar win, you know, probably 28-21, something like that.
Awesome. We heard from Travis Yoasting. You can follow him on Twitter at @TYoasting, ETFS. He will be tweeting at the game. We also will have a ET Final Score crew there with live video on Facebook at ET Final Score. Be sure to be there. Clark Stadium, 7:30 p.m. in Plano. I'm Trevor Pill.